This is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Grace and peace to you. Today, another of Job's friends try to give him the answers that he's searching for, but I still don't think they're hearing his questions. Today, we meet Bildad the Shuhite. He's listened to everything that Eliphaz has said and how Job has responded. And he seems to me, in tone, a little bit annoyed by the whole thing. How long will you say these things, and the words of your mouth be a great wind? Aren't those the nicest words you've ever heard spoken to somebody who's in the midst of terrible suffering? How long will you say these things, and the words of your mouth be a great wind? In other words, be just blow hard. You're just blah, 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 Job. Now, maybe sometimes we need friends to give us a good shake, bring us to our senses. But Bildad's self-appointed use of that kind of action really isn't very helpful. Bildad's point is that God cannot do wrong. So he says, does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert the right? If your children sinned against him, he delivered them into the power of their transgression. Now listen to what he just said here. Job has lost his whole family and all of his possessions. And Bildad's response is, God doesn't do wrong. So whatever happens to the world is right. And for you to ask questions is just, well, rambling. It's nonsense. If your children died, which they know they did, then it was their sin that caused it. Just own that. They were sinful, and all the prayers and sacrifices you offered meant nothing to God. Then he says in 5, if you will seek God and make supplication to the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, surely then he will rouse himself for you and restore to you your rightful place. Now, you know that we as Lutherans hold very close to the doctrine of justification by grace through faith. We don't earn anything. Bildad is not a Lutheran. Well, at least he's not one who's ever read what we believe. If you will seek God and make supplication to the Almighty, if you will do these things, if you are pure and upright, see, it's all within your control, Job, then he will rouse himself and he'll help you. The suffering that you have in your life, it's all your own fault. And you have to take the long haul. You need to take responsibility and get moving. Though your beginning was small, your latter days will be very great. Kind of like Eliphaz saying, God will restore you. Is that true? Or do we just hope that's true when we tell other people that? This is kind of a bucket up, Job. It's all going to work out in the end, but you need to take responsibility. God may be slow, but God will make sure that good people get rewarded in the end. And if you're not rewarded, well, then you must not have done it right, or enough, or deep enough. Bildad's response is that everything's Job's fault, and that he has it in his power to save himself. And that's a load of malarkey. It's not true. How often, though, have we heard this kind of advice in the midst of suffering? Maybe we've even given it. We can't dismiss people's suffering as some consequence for bad deeds. When I was a chaplain in the cancer hospital, I often overheard conversations where people would struggle to explain why they had lung cancer or why they had another kind of cancer. A lot of times it had to do with convincing other folks that well, I quit smoking, so, I thought I'd done the right thing. Or they would just give up and say, yeah, I did this to myself, and there's no way out of it. I guess I screwed up, and there is no grace. That's no way to live, and it's no way to guide somebody through their suffering. It's no way to go through the suffering that you have in your life either, trying to find what you did wrong. Bildad is out of bounds. He's not of much help. May we do better.